Well, look at that. The delay is absolutely horrendous. Okay, let's see what we got here. We have a blue flash, broken screen, according to those notes. No notes. Won't power on. Charge. No notes. Ah, Nintendogs. No notes. Nice blue console. Cartridge doesn't stay in. Alright. Scratch digitizer. Yes, it is. Well, I suppose the scratch digitizer will be the one that will be the easiest to start with. Question is, does it power on? Has seen some better days. Yes, it has. Water damage indicator has been tripped. Ooh, nice. That probably doesn't show up, but see those yellow splotches on the screen. Yeah, this upper LCD is just shot. Digitizer is just... And then whomever's initials. Would like to see if I can start getting that off. Looks like somebody just used Sharpie. Hopefully. Sharpie. Alcohol soluble. Get that saturated. Let that sit for a second. Should just wipe right off. At least hopefully. Probably shouldn't be using a dry Q-tip to do this. I'll probably just have to deal with that later. It is coming off a little. It just might need more time. A little more effort on the alcohol's part, but... Okay. This is my known good battery. Console has been apart. It's missing a shell screw. Right there. Other screws are a little gross. Now, since it booted, everything on the innards should be pretty good. And the charge slot looks pretty good. Bottom shell, though it's a little scratched up, is in good shape, all things considered. That really doesn't want to open, but put that aside for now. Motherboard looks to be in good shape. All the pins in the card slot are there. Okay. I will happily take a good motherboard. I needed to find a good one for this white console I want to put together. Powerboard screws, I'll put right there.
Every time you use your ICCU Premier Rewards Visa card, you're earning rewards. Start earning points and getting cash back for your everyday purchases. Idaho Central Credit Union. We think life should be rewarding.
Where on earth did this guy come from? Oh, that must have been the outer shell screw that was missing. That's strange. Must have just been rested in there. Not goes. Console turned on, so that would imply the F1 fuse is okay, buttons are good. I see nothing wrong with this power board. I love it. We're getting this ready to be taken out. Small motherboard screw, 3 larger ones. Over, unclip the top screen ribbon cable, which I really don't need to be that careful with. This top screen is scrap. We'll put this in my needs new digitizer pile. I'll need to inventory this motherboard. I see nothing wrong with. Put that over there. Ooh. Ew. Some type of sugary fluid was spilt on this. Those membranes should not be that difficult to take off. They should be falling out on their own. Okay, it's just the D-pad that's bad. Put that over here. Pull the cable off the... Oh. I didn't slice the tape off this ribbon cable. Or slice the tape off this Wi-Fi antenna. Somebody was in here. Curious. Very curious. Those came off much easier than they usually do. I will not argue. Necessarily imply anybody's been up here, but unless somebody found a way to take these things off completely. Oh, hello.
You know just how time-consuming it can be searching for royalty-free media, and when you do find some, they're always bad. We use
Yeah, just making sure it was joined on my channel before I started. I usually use it to test commands for another channel I mod for. So, I am currently taking apart a DSI that I got in a junk lot from eBay. The intention is to replace any parts that are needed to be replaced and hopefully resell it. But as far as I'm concerned, I really just like doing this. So, a little bit of money I get back is mainly just to buy more consoles. This one has just a horribly yellowed top screen and a very scratched up digitizer on the touch screen. Which one was it? It was that one. That one's pretty bad. Got some real deep gashes on it. I guess somebody decided to play their DS with a razor blade. Also fairly evident someone spilt something sticky on it. There's always a story that comes with these consoles. Some grosser than others. Yeah, I do too. It can be kind of expensive to get into, but thankfully these DS consoles are still running on the market for pretty cheap. Though, unfortunately, parts for them are starting to get a little harder to find as international marketplaces aren't providing stock anymore. Like, screen-wise for the DSIs, there are plenty of screens out there on websites like AliExpress. But for the larger DSi XL consoles, the top screens are darn near impossible to source. And that makes things really difficult when I have a bunch of perfectly fine DS consoles that just need top screens. I just can't do anything with them. I could convert them into the giant Game Boy Advances like some people do with these consoles, but that's not really my cup of tea. Alright, let's get this Wi-Fi ribbon out. Or Wi-Fi antenna. Put that over there. China can make anything. It's still amazing that you can even find parts for consoles like these, but Unfortunately, as I would assume with anything supply and demand, if nobody's buying top screens for various consoles, manufacturers aren't going to produce them. But I do what I can. Get the little grill and washer right off these speakers so they don't go flying when I try taking this ribbon cable out. Camera unit popped out. The hinge popped out. Right, now the fun part, getting the ribbon out of the hinge. This is where a lot of first-time resellers of Nintendo handheld consoles find that these ribbons are a lot more delicate than you first anticipate. There we go. Right through the spacing in the upper portion of the shell. And voila. Now I need to coil the ribbons in on themselves to get them past this little metal ring. Then I will be scot-free. They use a little metal ring just to hold the ribbon. Now it's just gently persuading it through. There we go. That is a very yellowed top screen of a DSi. Double check it on my test bench just in case there's not something wrong with the motherboard, but I am fairly certain this is a DSi that's ready to retire. Right. Test bench. The battery in, yes I do. Ooh. Yeah, that is rough. That color won't come through, but it's not that white. About a quarter of the right portion of the screen is just yellowed. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Okay. I can double check, but I'm pretty sure that it's not this lens. Nope. That LCD's bad. Note on the back and continue on. Oh, yeah. Need to take the hinge out before I can close this top piece. Right, that's a gutted DSI that I shall use for the future, I suppose. Alright, I'll grab another black one. Blue flash, both screen. Wonder what the seller meant by that. Battery, an unknown good one, and... Ah. Bottom screen flashing. Usually the hallmark sign of a bad top screen. Does not look like this unit has been taken apart. The feet are still in place. Overall, this unit's in pretty good shape. Taking these feet out is always kind of a chore. Definitely a lot worse than the DSi XL consoles. Not as big. Those right there. My needle go. And my poor needle gets wrecked. Yay, and scratch that shell with my needle. Alright. 6 rear shell screws. I guess not 6 rear shell screws. Missing one. Maybe I was a bit wrong in my assumption that this thing hasn't been apart. Well, there's some pretty telltale signs. Like how this Wi-Fi card isn't even plugged in. I don't think the shell did that. This camera ribbon isn't plugged in all the way. The Wi-Fi card's not set in its channel. The tape isn't holding it down. All the screws are in place. The camera ribbon wouldn't prevent it from starting, but if whomever took this apart didn't know how to seat the ribbons, it's entirely possible the top screen ribbon just isn't seated. So I'm going to check that before I do anything drastic here. This digitizer ribbon is different. I think whoever had this apart must have replaced the digitizer, didn't they? They did a really good job. So I wonder where they went wrong to... I would be very interested to know if they set the top screen ribbon correctly. Okay, get the microphone ribbon out. Microphone cable. Really don't like how they squished that Wi-Fi antenna. No, that top screen ribbon's not seated. That is so unfortunate for them to be so close to having a perfectly working console, only for them not to set the top screen ribbon in all the way. Highly possible that this console still has a bad top screen, but that ribbon was not in. That would cause the failed self-check. 100%. Very curious. Well, whomever they are out in the world, I'm so sad for you. Don't need the camera ribbon to boot. Don't need the digitizer to boot. Do, however, need the back screen light. Back screen LCD. Oh, hello, Mr. Mark. You're scheming, Pabu. Why are you... Okay, there you go. Backlight for the bottom screen. The Wi-Fi card plugged in. Put it together enough to turn on, and let's see if all that was wrong with it was just that the top screen wasn't plugged in. Ah, that is most unfortunate to whomever owned this console before. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I seem to be doing this around your lunch breaks, eh? Lunch breaks. Really more like dinner for you at this point. Not outside the screen or inside the screen. Looks like it's inside the screen. Ah, why is it always particulate below the lens? Always below the lens. Yep. Well, either way, this screen needs to come out. But it's good to know that it all works. Feel so sad for whomever did that digitizer job. They did a very good job on the digitizer. Did not plug in that top screen. Come on now. There you go. Wi-Fi card. Just go for full disassembly. Ah, I didn't undo the power board. I will always take some more good power boards, since I had a faulty motherboard that kept blowing the fuses on these power boards. Thankfully, I have about a bundle of 200 fuses on the way that are easy enough to replace. Come on out of there. Uh, Good power board. Contacts look good. I see nothing wrong with it. Buttons. Ooh, wish they would have at least bothered cleaning this thing when they opened it. Saved me the work. Do the camera ribbon. The screen should... Oh! Very interesting. Well, they replaced the digitizer, but they didn't stick the bezel back on the screen. They just rested it in there. They broke it prying it off. Well, one digitizer that I don't have to do, but yeah, this is mainly just a dust protector for the motherboard. I don't see why I can't just glue it back together. But we'll see. I should have some spare borders.
First off, if you haven't made money with AI yet, don't worry. AI is the biggest...
Pop out the top ribbon cable. Alright. Motherboard. Good to inventory. Yeah. Alright. Let's get the rest of the shell taken apart. Ugh. Come out. Come out. Little screw covers. One. Two. Three. And four. These in my little screw cover pill case. Hopefully reuse. I know I can reuse them for the DSi XL. These DSIs have these weird, like, I don't know what you would call them, adhesive pads over the screws that don't come with the screw covers. Like a rubber and like a, almost like an aluminum foil combo. Or on the DSi XLs, the rubber, they just put a tacky side on the rubber screw cover. They don't add this extra layer. Okay, that popped off nice. Okay, I did take off the diffuser on the last one. Good, because they are very small, and I don't want them disappearing. Put that camera ribbon up there. Okay. Wi-Fi card. Not the Wi-Fi card, the Wi-Fi antenna. Not as sophisticated as the Wi-Fi card. And the microphone. Take out the speakers to get the grills out so they don't fall on me. Okay, pop the hinge out. Now we're good to start getting this ribbon out of its hinge. Okay, got the metal ring dislodged from this lower portion of the shell. Now it's just feeding it through the channel if it wants to. Ah, there we go. Bendy, bendy, bendy. Okay, I have the top screen folded in on itself, right in its little metal ring, ready to be taken out. But for some reason, Nintendo really did not skimp on adhesive when it came to this top screen. I think 4 screws clamping it down would be enough. No, they gotta put this massive sticker on it. I'm waiting for the day I crack one of these LCDs right in half trying to take these out. If not that, breaking this top shell piece. It gets pretty thin. So far, I've been lucky. I don't have much experience on the DSi consoles themselves. I'm mainly working on XL consoles that aren't as, well, liberally glued down as these older DSis. Older, relatively speaking. There's a spot on that ribbon cable that I hope I did not cause. I noticed glimmering out of the corner of my eye. I need to verify that this top screen works still. I didn't tear it, because that would be unfortunate. Would not be the first time. I know it's not going to be the last. Okay, grab my test bench. Voila! A top screen still works. Got to love it. We'll put it on my pile of needs lens work. And get the shell put together. so that I can throw it in my little box of parts. And once I get enough spare pieces, or when I start inventory everything and find a good donor, clean this shell up, equip it with everything it needs, and send it to one lucky person. We'll call it theirs. Okay. This one, cartridge doesn't stay in. What exactly does that mean? Wow, crafting mama. Let's see. Ooh. Looks like it was slid across pavement. Oh, came with a stylus. That's nice. Any other goodies? No. Cartridge doesn't stay in. Oh, yeah. Let's hope it remains unmolested. Now, the only time I've had this problem, I did it to myself by bending the card slot. Actually, I never even checked to see if this thing turns on. A mark on the top screen. Otherwise, I'd say this bottom screen's okay. That will require further testing, which I won't do right now. Either way, I need to take this back piece off and inspect the card slot. I don't know what happened to this rear shell. It got really marred up. All cosmetic, but still, jeez. I know I actually did find a DSI on the road once. It was probably a decade back. Fortunately, I was definitely not in the mood to try and repair something, but mighty possible that it had a broken screen. If I remember the problem, it was either that or a Wi-Fi board that was bad in it. Kick myself that I didn't keep it, but it is what it is. All in all, it was only about a $15 console. If even that, however much scrap consoles were going back then. Okay. It does not have a silver screw, it just has gunk caked on it. Alright, what's behind door number 1? Okay. Oh, it looks like... This is about to be damn near impossible to see, but because my camera won't focus on it. But right there's a little metal piece. This piece is part of the mechanism in which the cartridge clips in. It looks like it got caught on this little tab. Now, this tab is what, for lack of a better term, what controls the clickiness of it, whether it engages and disengages the cartridge loading mechanism. So since that little bar isn't there to catch on this little tab, nothing happens. So if I take the cartridge, push it in all the way, I might be able to reset this little bar. where I got in trouble last time is I bent this little tab, and that's what threw everything off. I still haven't fixed it, and that's in my personal blue DSI. Might just need to bend it a little just to hold it up. And then I don't know how this piece popped out of its track. But ah, and just like that, fixed. Clicks normally, and it's not something that's audible, but or at least not audible with the mic setup I have, but you can see disengage, engage. Wow, I was expecting something much worse. Ah, right. Can't put in a cartridge. Alright, crafting mama. Let's see if you are red. I didn't check the pins, but I have no reason to believe the pins are bad. Hmm. Ah, okay. They might be a little dirty. The crafting mama. That is wonderful. Okay. Crafting mama aside. Yeah, there's a lot of particulate under this top screen lens. A lot of dust. I'm not sure how it gets underneath there. Like, these things are adhered shut pretty well. So maybe these popped off at one point and someone's like, ah crap, and then put it back in. Either way, if I even want to take that lens off without destroying it, I need to take the console completely apart. As annoying as that is. Because trying to work on the lens without taking it off, not only do you risk damaging the LCD, you risk damaging the ribbon cable in the hinge. Because as you try and peel back the top screen, you're going to be putting a lot of stress on that ribbon cable. Even if you twerk the screen in a weird direction, drop it, or maybe it falls out of a little holding rig you have set up, you could really screw that top screen ribbon. Though saying it's easier to take this thing fully apart is not entirely accurate. It is safer for all of the components just to take the whole thing apart. Is it a pain to put back together? Yes, it's a pain to also take apart. But I would rather the minor inconvenience than having to buy another $10 screen. And I would know. Huh, okay. That charge slot looks a little strange. Maybe it's just me. Doesn't look like it was repaired by an end user. If I am anybody to go off of, the replacement of a charge slot is rather violent. At least the way I do it, I kind of scorch the board a little. Cosmetic, for the most part. I'll definitely have to look into better ways of doing it. But I don't have to do it very often. Oh, come on now. Ah, that's what that noise was. The D-pad fell out. Okay, since these are different colors, I want to put these aside. Alright. I'm good to start taking this board out. Set it aside. I need to put it in inventory. And though I continue to neglect to do so, I need to check this card slot. Did I check the card slot on the other one? I don't think so. I assumed it was fine because whomever replaced the digitizer cared enough about their console to put it back together in a reasonable state. They just didn't put it together right. Okay, and the pins are fine. They are nice. Probably wouldn't hurt to clean them. That is a problem for another day.
You know just how time consuming it can be searching for royalty free media, and when you do find some, they're all.
Alright. That membrane for the start button didn't go too far. Didn't catch it as it was coming down. Ah, still stuck to the power board. Gotcha. Okay. Screw covers. Yay. Squirting a bit of rubbing alcohol on there to loosen up any adhesive, so that when I go in here with a sewing needle, it's not so violent. Ideally, I want to save these. That is unfortunately... One... 2... 3... Oh, interesting. That one came up with its little silver adhesive piece. I'm not trying to dig that far down, just enough to get past the rubber. That one went a little deeper than I expected. Alright. And 4. I may need to separate that piece, just in case. Okay, my red screw covers go in Wednesday. The AM. That it is not. Oh, come on now. I'll trust that that fell in there and it's not stuck to my person. Oh! You stay there, sir. Sewing needle. Unscrewing the top screen. Coolio. Coolio. Now that's unusual. Usually there's just a big giant like foam sticker on the back of these top screens. This one doesn't have it. That is unusual. Wow. Gonna grab an example, but black is a horrible example. Grab white. So typically on these top shell pieces, they have this big adhesive sticker on the back, just to make sure that that top shell stays in, or that top screen stays nice and snug against the front of the console. Why they decided to go with three little foam stickers, I don't really understand, unless this is a newer model. I would bet the serial number stamped on the motherboard does not indicate a newer console versus a more dignified barcode. I don't know, that's very unusual. Let me check the one that had a stamp. Yeah, it also had a big foam sticker. Mighty strange. Alright, well, that's the Wi-Fi antenna out. Grab the microphone. Pop the hinge.
Hey, you have an hour this week, right? Yeah. Great, I can teach you how to play 100 songs on piano in an hour. No way. All you need to learn is 4 chords. These. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Bullshit. Alright, check this out. Hey, so sister, I don't wanna miss. Alright, that's one song. Why'd you have to go make things so complicated? Alright, that's 2 songs. That's the same.
Undo the camera cables. Pop the camera out. Now, get the ribbon out of the hinge. Oh, this shell is cracked. Okay, worry about that later. I'm doing it, Dad. I'm disassembling. That's the hardest part. Top ribbons. Gotta feed them into the channel of this upper shell piece. Come on now. There we go. Nice and snug. Alright. I need to inspect that crack. Yeah, it's definitely there, but not fully through the shell. Yes, I did. 31 consoles. Even had, I think 3 of the DSi XLs were Japanese consoles. Well, that'll be really interesting to look at. Frankly, I'm probably going to have to just salvage those boards, because there's really not much I can do with the Japanese. But I am hearing of software that I can use to flash the internal memory to English, but the steps in which to do it are a little beyond my understanding, so I'll have to do a lot of research. It wouldn't hurt to try. If I corrupt the NAND, who cares? I can still pull connectors and resistors off that board. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think many people are interested in Japanese consoles. I was even able to offer about $50 less, and they accepted. I think it came out to about $14 a unit, plus or after tax. I think that's pretty good, because for DSi XLs, I would only really want to pay about $25 a unit. For DSIs, I still haven't really nailed down the price of those, but I really don't see why I wouldn't pay $15 a unit for DSIs. because they sell for about $40. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. And why I can get really good deals on that is because not many people are just willing to dump $400 on just a whole bunch of crummy DSIs. And really what it comes down to it, as long as the shells are in really good shape and the motherboards work, I get my money back. Everything else is bonus. For DSIs, I can source screens really easily still. DSI XLs, on the other hand, I can't. Which is where I could turn to the Japanese market for DSI XLs to get screens. But the problem with Japanese consoles is they have yellowing screens due to the humidity. So, and it's a non-win battle in that case. Alright, I'm going to test this top screen to make sure that it survived the disassembly process. I was kind of crunching the end of this cable a little while I was rolling it, so I am a little concerned, especially since there's this weird adhesive. That white crusty stuff's not supposed to be there. I'm not sure what happened. It looks like part of this camera ribbon started to disintegrate and got stuck to the main top ribbon. It's not something I usually see without somebody getting fluid in that hinge. For now, I'll grab my test bench. Alright, survived the disassembly process. Hmm. I'm gonna have to really look at this top screen later. I'm seeing some artifacts in it. Oh yeah, my test bench is just using the same motherboard. I should probably wipe it so I'm not just flashing some lady's random photos online, but you know, details. I will put this shell back together, toss it in my little box of shells, and that's what I was missing. This guy. And hopefully we'll find a good amount of parts to put this back together. Still hesitant to use this rear shell because it looks like it met asphalt, but other than the rear shell being crazy scratched for some reason, this thing's not in bad shape. Not the worst I've seen, but not the best. Oh, my box is getting full. Okay, well, I think I'm gonna call it good for now. I have a couple errands I need to run. So I will probably quickly clean this up off screen and call it a day. Thanks for coming by, Jake. I shall call that good.